Hey everyone, this is Dr. Tiff and welcome to one of my videos. Now today, let's go through taking impressions. Now impressions are one of those things that if you do it well, your patients will love you, and if you do it badly, they're going to absolutely hate you. Now you might have seen my video on how to do a 10-second post-stab. If you haven't, see the link up there, but let's go ahead and do some impression techniques. So I'm going to take standard stock trays and use those for today. So we might have to adapt these depending on how they fit. We have our lovely patient Deb, who's going to be helping us out today as well. Let's try these out. So one of the questions we usually have is whether we sit the patients up or lie them back when you take impressions. Now sitting them up is better for the patient, but it's harder for us to see what we're doing. So I like to keep the patient supine if I can, have them laying back. Now some of you might be asking, what if they're gaggers? Like if they're gaggers, you really don't want to sit them back, but there's some tips that I can teach you that helps with that process. The first one is get the patient to keep their eyes open and focused on something. If their eyes are open and focused, what you'll find is that you can circumvent the gag reflex. The first thing people do in the gag is they tend to close their eyes. So if you can keep their eyes open by focusing on something, you can circumvent that whole process. The second thing is using salt. Now, I'm not sure why, but using salt will stop people from gagging. If you know why, leave it a comment in the comments below. But I don't know why it happens, but I know it works. And a bit of salt on the tip of their tongue really stops that process. And the last thing I tell patients is if they feel like gagging, if they get the diaphragm working, so lift both their legs up off the chair, that will stop the gag process as well. Again, I think it's a distraction process, and it might be something you're activating their core muscles, but it actually really works. I haven't had anyone gagging for years by using those three processes. The reason why I like to sit the patient back is I get to see where the impression material is flowing, and I can dig it out if it is going down the back of their throat. Now I always start with the lower tray first, just to get the patient's confidence up, then the upper tray. So I'm going to try the lower tray in first. Just open there for me, Deb. And we're going to seat it in and make sure it doesn't touch any teeth as it's going down. Now the way to put a tray in, so you're not stretching the patient's mouth a lot, is to actually, just open there a bit, is to put it in sideways and rotate it in. You can see it's hardly stretching the whole thing at all. Well, if I try to put the whole thing in, I've got to like really stretch the mouth apart. So go in 90 degrees, just open it a little bit more and rotate it around, and then it goes in. So that one's perfect. Same thing with the top tray. Again, we're going to start 90 degrees, rotate it in, and then try it, and that fits perfectly as well. It doesn't actually hit any of the teeth on either side. Now I'm going to do that a few times just to practice, to make sure that I know where the tray is going to go. Right there. Now I'm going to put a post stem on it. I'm not going to show you how it's done. Watch my other video if you want to see that. Beautiful, thank you. So the other thing to remember is that Alginate is hydrophilic, so it wants to absorb water. So you're going to see me do something, which is once I've loaded the tray, I'm actually going to put water on my fingers and water on the actual tray and rub it together. And what that does is it flattens off the surface of the alginate, so you don't get this rippled appearance, and it's got the best chance of giving you detailed impressions. So I'm going to load the tray and I'm going to push down to make sure it's going at the very base. And this is where I'm going to turn the water on. Thank you. I'm going to wet my fingers and the tray as well. Just rub the surface to make it as flat as I can. And go back in, just open there for me. Slide the tray in. The most important thing is to hold the lip out the way and then kind of push everything down. You can do some border molding if you so wish. And get the patient to stick their tongue out over this top. So stick your tongue out if you can. Beautiful. Just remember to take big deep breaths through your nose. Beautiful. And now we wait. Now, when it's ready to come out, you need to break the seal. So the best way to do that is to push the cheek out the way and just kind of lift up one side, you break the seal, and the other side, and you bring it back out. And as you can see, we've got quite a nice impression with reasonable borders on there. A bit deficient on the front, but pretty good for a quick alginate impression. I'm going to do the same thing with the top one. So with the upper tray, I've got the post stem on there. Took me 10 seconds. I'm going to load the tray very similarly as well. Put more on the front than the back, but try and squish it down so it's in all the little nooks and crannies of that tray. Again, loading the tray, and I'm going to take stuff from the back and put it towards the front. And see how it's all lumpy? I'm going to get rid of that lumpiness in just a second. See how it's less lumpy? So again, we're going to go in, so open as wide as you can. Push it in. I'm not going to push it, I'm just going to very slowly just watch the material go up. And then do some border molding now. Pretty good. So you can see that even though I've got the patient sitting back, we don't have material going down the back of her throat because of the 10-second post dam with that masking tape. Works really, really well. Looks like it's gone hard again, so I'm just about to take it out. So again, to break the seal, what I'll do is I'll push my finger up to the sulcus, push down with my finger and up with the tray. It just pops it open, and then we take it out. So that's just a really simple and easy way to take impressions. Now you've got some techniques to help stop gagging, and really important is to give yourself that few seconds to get the lip out the way before you push it in, and to put the tray in 90 degrees before you rotate it in, so you're not pushing and pulling the patient's cheeks and lips. Now if you like these videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button. There's also that bell icon that you can hit so you get notifications anytime a new video comes up. And as always, this is Dr. Tiv, over and out.